Well, according to my cell phone here, it's 7 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first episode, for lack of a better phrase, of Storm Forecast, our Facebook Live sessions. My name is Brad Bergstrom, and I'm lucky enough to be the superintendent here at Sauk Rapids Rice Public Schools. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your evening to come and join us in this Facebook Live session. For those of you that have been seeing these before or have listened in on them, welcome back. It's hard to believe that the 23-24 school year is about ready to get started, and this is one of those indicators that it is going to be starting soon as we start back with our storm forecast meetings that we're going to be having. For those of you that are new, welcome. I'm glad that you are here. I want to give you just a little bit of an idea of how this process works, and then I'll do another little piece that I'll share with you in terms of some information that I think it's important for everybody to know, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get started with tonight's session. So for those of you that are new, how this works is the purpose behind the storm forecast or Facebook Live, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a moment, is really for you to get some information from the school district in terms of things that are going on, but it's also designed for you to be able to ask me questions. And how that works is if you have a question, you can put it into the comment section. I've got a couple of people here that will be scanning through and looking at those. They will then write the question down on a post-it for me, and then I'll try to answer that question as quickly as I possibly can. If I'm unable to answer the question, I'll let you know that, and then we'll go back, we'll get the answer to it, and then at the next Facebook Live or Storm Forecast, we'll go ahead and we'll answer that question for you. So that's the intent of how this is designed to work. So again, if you hear something, you got a question, please feel free to type in your question in the comment section, and it will be copied for me onto a post-it pad, and then I will go ahead and try to answer that question. And speaking of the Facebook Live the storm forecast, is that I've been using those two names synonymously together, and what I'd like to do is make a significant change in terms of using only the name that's on the Facebook page to get here, and that's a storm forecast. In case at some point down the road we have to change platforms, if we call it Facebook Live and we go to a different platform, that might be a little complicated or a little bit confusing for people. So you're going to hear me start utilizing storm forecasts to describe these monthly sessions that we'll have, and so just want to make sure that that is clearly articulated to everybody. So storm forecast is going to be the title that we're going to use to identify these meetings. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. I've got a number of items that I want to share with you, and I also have somebody here. We have a special guest with us tonight that's going to be sharing some information with you as well, and we'll look forward to hearing some information from our guest here in just a little bit. So let's talk first of all about what is going to be the storm forecast schedule for this year. Much like we did last year, storm forecast will be the first Wednesday of each month. There's a couple of times that that's not going to be happening. This, of course, is one of them. And then also in September, we're going to go the second week, with it being the first Wednesday being the first week of school and the first day of school for all students. Much like we did last year, we'll move that to the second Wednesday in September. Otherwise, after that, most of them will fall on the first Wednesday. Also, January is another month in which it will not be happening, as there's going to be an organizational school board meeting that night. So again, with the exception of September and January, it will be the first Wednesday, and we'll start these at 7 o'clock. And if you are unable to see these live when we're doing the meetings, just know that they are posted on the website, and people can go back and take a look at those so that you can gather that information as well. The only drawback is if you have any questions, the only time that can happen is when we're doing this live. One of the, looking here, I'm not seeing any questions yet. So one of the things that I think is exceptionally important in terms of the work that we do as a district is to make sure that we are communicating with our families. And one of the ways in which we do this, of course, is storm forecast, But the other way that we do that is what we call our top 3. It's a little bit of a play off of David Letterman's top 10, and I might be dating myself a little bit with that. But the idea is that on a bi-weekly basis, we're going to share information with families in regards to the top 3 things that are going on in the district, just to keep you in the loop, to keep you informed in terms of what's going on. In fact, we did a survey last spring, and our feedback from that is that a lot of families find that to be very helpful. What we try to do is we try to keep it as condensed as we possibly can, and we send that out. You can get it via email. You can also get it via text. Please know if you get it via text, you will have to click on a link to open up the document to see what's in there, and that's one of the ways in which we communicate. Historically, the top 3 has been sent out on Friday afternoon. We asked for some feedback and last spring, and one of the things we learned is that maybe it might be better served if we sent it out on a different day. And so for this year, for both our staff and our families, this non-emergency type information is going to go out on Tuesdays. And we did some testing with that last year and got some very positive feedback. And we also noticed that there was not a drop in the number of people that were looking at it, and more importantly, that information was being looked at on that day versus when we did it on Fridays. Sometimes it was Sunday or Monday before people were looking at it. So again, in an attempt to keep families informed of what's going on, we're going to use Facebook Live, we're going to use the top 3 and go from there. And just pause for 1 second here. Sorry for the pause there. Things went blank in the boardroom here, and I just wanted to make sure that things were still going, and I think that it has been. If there was a pause in terms of the video, please let us know. But again, I'm sorry for stepping out with that, but I just wanted to make sure that things were still working right here. Okay, so again, top 3 communications this year will be sent out bi-weekly. We sent out our first one here on August 15th, and those will be coming on a bi-weekly basis on Tuesday afternoons. The next item that I want to spend a little time talking about has to do with student cell phones and some changes that are happening, particularly at the high school level. And so I'm going to walk through really what the new protocols are going to be. And when I talk about cell phones, it's not just cell phones, it's also personal devices, which can include earbuds, etc. So depending upon the level or the building that you are in, your child is in, there will be varying levels of what is going to be acceptable. So when we get to the elementary level, it's really no personal devices or having those privileges during the day at all. In fact, they're not allowed to be out in the buildings at all. When we get to the middle school, that begins to change a little bit, and that is the students can have them before school or after school, but during the day they are not allowed to have them, and that's not a change. Same thing with the elementary, that has not been a change from what that expectation has been for some time now. At the high school, however, there is going to be a change, and what's going to be happening with that is that before school they'll be fine. During passing time, they'll be fine. During lunchtime, they will be fine to have out. And then the same thing at the end of the day, they will be fine for students to have them out. But during our instruction time, in particular, those devices are not to be out, not to be utilized. Now the question might be, why would there be making this change? And there's really 2 big reasons behind it. Number 1 is it is a source of distraction, and we really want our students to be engaged in the learning that they're being asked to take on, and we want them to concentrate and to focus on what's going on in the classroom, not be distracted by a device. And the other piece that comes with this, it's a privacy piece. And we want to make sure that students and staff, when they're in the rooms, that they have a level of privacy that they should be entitled to. And so again, during classroom time, during instruction time, those devices are expected to be put away, etc. In the past, it's been left up to teachers to decide where that's going to be, and it becomes very challenging to try and manage that. So starting this year at the high school, that change will be taking place. Now, as you can see through these changes, there's a progression, and the older the student gets, the more opportunities there are to have them out and to have access to them. And another piece that I'll share with this is that the research is becoming more and more clear. That the cell phone usage is becoming more and more of a deterrent for student learning, and we want to really try to do whatever we can to eliminate that. So again, it will be a change for phones and electronic devices such as earbuds at the high school. The middle school will be remaining the same, and then the same thing at the elementary level. So to recap, elementary, not to have out before school, during the day, or after school. At the middle school level, you can have them out before school and after school. Otherwise, during the day, they are not to be out. And again, at the high school, the change will be that it's okay to have them out before school, after school, during passing time, and then, of course, during lunchtime. Now, if there is something that is exceptionally important, and there's that a child, as a parent or a guardian, you want to make sure that you have access to your child because maybe there's an illness in the family or something really important that's going on. Of course, please communicate with the administration at the high school and the teachers, and we can certainly be flexible enough to allow that to happen if there are truly unique circumstances. But at the end of the day, the expectation is going to be for all students is that the new policy is going to be implemented, put into place, and to be followed. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the administration at the high school. The next item that I have for you has to do with lunches for this coming year. So during the last legislative session with the House and the Senate and the governor, what they wound up doing is passing a law that said that there will be free breakfast and free lunch for all students in a public school setting. And that is for kindergarten through grade 12. And it's one breakfast and it is one lunch for each student. Now, we have the option for students to do a la carte. They certainly can purchase those items, but please know and understand that the free meal is the standard issued meal that's there. If a child would like something out of the a la carte line, or if a child wants a second meal, then there is going to be a cost with that. And a couple of things to keep in mind is with this is, again, first breakfast, one breakfast, one lunch, free of charge. Should a student want to have an additional breakfast, the cost for that will be $2.25. When it comes to lunch, for additional student lunch, that charge is $4.95. And I wish to be very clear with this. This is significantly higher than what it's been in the past, and this was not established in terms of a cost by the district. That was set at the state level. So the cost for an additional breakfast and the cost for an additional student lunch, $2.25 and $4.95 respectively, those fees were set by the state of Minnesota, not by any school districts, including ours. For breakfast, if you want an additional milk, it is 50 cents. And for adults, if they would like a breakfast, it's $2.25. If a student wants a second entree, like a slice of pizza only, that charge is $2.25. The $4.95 is if they get the full lunch. So if pizza is being served and a student is hungry and they want to go and get a second piece of pizza, that charge would be $2.25. If they get the full meal, it will be an additional $4.95. And for adults, the price for a school lunch this year will be $4.95. Okay. The other thing that I want to make families be aware of is that One of the things that we've been thinking about and been getting some feedback on, in particular at the high school level, is that oftentimes students at the end of the day, they might be hungry, they might be in need of something. It might be our students who are going to be participating in activities, or they're just hungry at the end of the day. So what we are going to try at the high school, starting on the first day of school, is that we're going to have an a la carte line at the high school for at the end of the day. There will be a charge for those items, and those prices will be marked on there. But we're looking to provide something for students that if they have a need to grab something to eat before they go to their activity, or if they're going to be riding the bus home, they can grab a bite to eat before they get there if they're hungry. So we'll try that and see how it works. And then from there, if we need to make adjustments, we certainly will. I need to reemphasize that the afternoon a la carte line at the end of the day, there is a charge for that. That is not free. So the free universal meals, in recapping here, is for K through 12. They get 2 meals, at least 1 breakfast and at least 1 lunch. Those will be free. If there is a need to purchase an additional breakfast for a student, it's $2.25. If there's a need to purchase a second lunch for students, it's $4.95. If students want an extra milk at breakfast, it's 50 cents. If students just want the second entree, that charge would be $2.25. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at the district office and we'll try to answer those questions. But again, I want to be really clear that the meal prices for the second meals are set by the state of Minnesota. They are not set by the district, and those are the prices that we do have to charge. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. So one of the things I talked about early on at the beginning of this, I'm not seeing any questions yet. So one of the things that I made mention of is that we were going to have a special guest here tonight. And so I'd like to ask our Director of Business Services, Tracy Ferrick, to come here and talk a little bit about transportation. And there's some new and exciting things that we're doing with transportation, but with that comes some things that we need help with from families. And so with that, I'm going to ask Director Ferrick to come here and spend some time giving you an update with where we're at with transportation. Tracy.
Thank you. Good evening. So if you've been here since the beginning, it was me that had the phone that rang. I felt like, God bless my mother in church. Anyway, so just I wanted to talk a little bit about some upgrades we're doing to our transportation system. So we've been working really hard this summer in partnership with Voight's Transportation and our special ed transportation services to convert to a updated version of our routing software. If you've been with us for a while and you've tried to navigate our old app that we had for watching where the bus was, it wasn't always reliable. When we switched out vehicles, it got hard to make sure that we had the updated information. So that really made us reflect and go back and look and say, you know, we need to think about doing something different. Our families are pretty technologically advanced. They would like to be able to see better data on where their kids are going. So over the summer, we've been working through that process. We've had over 16 training sessions of 2 hours each with the company that is putting this in place for us. We will have this up and running for the start of the school year. One of the things that we're working through in the last couple training sessions is really the rollout of the communication features and the app that's available for families. So the name of the app, if you want to go download it now, I know everybody's excited about it, I did today, is called Traversa Ride 360. So if you go to the App Store, you'll be able to find it there. One of the things you will need if you want to go through the process to register, it'll ask you for your school district. If you type in Sauk Rapids Rice Public Schools, will come up on the list. You'll need to know your student ID, your student's student ID, or as reflected in Skyward when you look at it as the other ID field. And we're going to post some instructions probably tomorrow or by the end of this week of how families can go out and get registered for the website, which is also available, and also the app, which we are hopeful down the road that app will be able to provide like push notifications to families to say, we got a train that's blocking an intersection. Can we push out notifications that way versus some of the ways we communicate? So we're working through some of those processes now and thinking through how that's going to work for us, but it's really going to provide better data. So when you get that app, you'll be able to see route information that's real-time, updated as, for example, we get a new kid that comes into the district and they change the route a few minutes. So once we put that kid on a route, all of that information will update real time to that app so you know when your stops are for your kids. So we'll roll it out. Our plan is to have routes ready and available for all families the week prior to school. And I'm not going to say a day because at the time I say a day, something happens and we can't actually get it out that day. So at some point the week prior to school, we'll have all the route information available. We'll communicate with all of the families to make sure that they know it's out there. We'll include instructions on how you access the website, how you download the app, but we'll start trickling some of that information out onto the website now. So if people want to go get that app, they can go get it. They can have it downloaded and ready to go. So we're pretty excited about it, and I got to thank really Voight's and our special ed transportation staff for all the work they've done on this. It's been a long road, but at the end of the day, I think we're going to have a better product. Anything else to add, Superintendent Bergstrom? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. It is, again, one of the things that we are trying to do is do the best we can at really identifying areas of need and concern for our families, and this is in response to the transportation piece. And anytime you implement something new, there is certainly going to be some things that families might have to do. Again, the app is going to be a wonderful tool for families to be able to use to monitor where the buses are at, and especially if you are in need of picking up a child at a stop or somebody is going to be coming there, they'll be able to see in real time where that is at and know when that bus stop is going to be, or when that bus is going to be getting that stop. And I think the other piece that's really important is that if a route changes, which it happens quite frequently throughout the course of the year, a student decides they're not going to be riding the bus anymore, a new student moves in, and we add to the route, we can let people know in real time what that adding of a person or deleting of a person will mean for those route times. So encourage you to go to the App Store and to get the app. You'll need that other ID, and then you can look for information to be coming with how to register and get on to accessing that app. And there'll be information with routes, etc. will be coming out as Director Fear talked about with sometime the week before school starts. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at the district office and we'll try to get those questions answered for you. I'm looking right now and I'm not seeing any questions at this time, so I'm going to keep moving along here and sharing information with you. So the next item that I want to share with you is really information about back to school packets and where that's when that information is going to be coming, etc. So one of the things that we're doing this year is we are sending this information out via email to families. So on Monday, August 21st, parents and guardians of elementary and middle school students will receive an email from your child or your children's school with important information for the upcoming year. High schools, families, and students will receive information earlier in order to coordinate the laptop pickup, and which has been going on here at the high school / district office every day this week. So it's great to see kids coming back into school, and it's also great to see our fall activities having started. It's a sure sign that the start of the school year is just around the corner. So again, for our elementary and middle school families, that information is coming out on August 21st. And then for high school, that information may have already come out or will soon be coming out because of the need for coordinating the laptop pickup. Okay, couple of things to be thinking about. Check your email for the back to school packet information. Again, elementary 821, middle school 821, and student schedules at the middle school will be available in Skyward on August 29th. Okay, and that's always a big deal. We want to know what the schedules are going to look like, etc. So it will be out on August 29th. And for our elementary families, that information will be on 8/21. At the high school level, schedules will be available on Skyward starting on 8/24. Okay, so elementary, August 21st. At the high school, it will be 8/24, and at the middle school, it will be 8/29. And you should be able to see the schedules. At the elementary level, you'll be able to see who your teacher is. Now, one of the questions that I get asked sometimes is, why can't we get those schedules out earlier? And one of the things that is important for people to understand is that part of that reason is because we have students who continue to enroll, new students in particular, and that makes adjustments to how many students are going to be in a class, what's that class going to be looking like. So that's why we have to wait until the point in time that we're doing right now, because here's what we do not want to do. And in particularly at the elementary level, we do not want to send out information earlier than what we are, only to have it change a week, 3 days, 10 days later. So we draw a line in the sand and say, here's the dates, because we're fairly comfortable at that point that there's not going to be any significant changes. And so that's a big chunk of the reason why we wait until this point in time for schedules to go out. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your child or your children's buildings, and they can answer those questions for you. So in addition to getting the schedules that will be coming out for your child, in the back to school packet, it might contain things such as, again, building classroom teacher level information, transportation information update, the accidental insurance offer, and I'm going to pull that point out and make sure that we spend a little time talking about this tonight. And that is, one of the things that the district does is offer for families at a fairly reasonable price accident insurance, so that if something should happen to a child, they get hurt at school, that accident insurance will pick up where your insurance company has left off. And so please know that that is an opportunity. There's also the educational benefits form. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent with this one because I think it's really important. One of the things that we saw during the pandemic when meals were free is that families stopped filling out the educational benefits form, sometimes called the free and reduced lunch form. And then when meals no longer were free and had to be paid for starting last year, between that and then the process that's called direct certification, so families qualify for any sort of county or state or federal aid program, they automatically get entered into the system. We saw a significant jump and increase in terms of the number of students who and their families who qualified. Does that mean that we all of a sudden had a bunch more families that didn't have the economic means to be able to pay the full price, etc.? No, that's not it. It's just that they were now being identified properly. And this piece is really important for families, and it's really important for us. So even though the meals are free, the filling out of that educational benefits form is important for the following reasons. Number one, for families, it does allow families to qualify for reductions in fees, such as with activities, depending upon if you qualify for reduced or you qualify for a free lunch. So again, the idea of filling out the form is not just for meals, but it also offers families an opportunity to have fees reduced for them. The second reason why this is really important is that, there's money, it's called compensatory revenue, that is shared with school districts depending upon where their free and reduced lunch rate is at. And the higher that rate is, the more dollars that come to help support reading intervention, in particular at our elementary levels, but it also allows us to do some things even at the older levels as well. So when that funding, if those forms aren't filled out and that funding goes away, it just doesn't allow the district to be as flexible in supporting the needs of our students across the district. And so that's a reason for the school district that it's really important. And then I think the third reason, and this is really indicative of for our families who have a child or children that are participating in extracurricular or co-curricular activities, is that every 2 years the Minnesota State High School League goes and they reset what classification you're going to be in, whether it's 3A, 2A, 4A, 5A, etc. And the free and reduced lunch rate, or that educational benefits form, plays a role in their formula that they use to determine what level a district is going to be competing at. So please, in that back to school packet, there will be the educational benefits form. Please, we encourage everybody to fill it out. If you need a paper copy of it, just go to your child's school and they can help get you access for that, so that we can get that form filled out and you can turn it in right there. Again, this is an important form to be filled out for families, for the schools, and then for our kids who are participating as well. And then the last item that is in that packet or may contain is a technology agreement that if a child is going to be utilizing the technology that we have in the district, which at this point we have iPads and MacBook Airs for our students. There's an expectation in terms of how it's going to be used, etc. So that information will be available as well. I'm looking right now and still no questions, so I have lots of information to continue to share. So let's move on, and I'll start talking about open house. So as we roll into that last week in August, the week of August 28th, we will be bringing staff back into the buildings, excited to have them coming back as well. And one of the events that happens during that week is on Wednesday, August 30th. Parents, guardians, and students are invited to attend their child's or children's school for what we call an open house, and they will be taking place in every single building. And with that, we have specific times in which this is going to be happening. So when we take a look at early childhood at Rice and at Hillside, and when we take a look at our elementary schools, which includes Mississippi Heights, Pleasant View, and Rice, those open houses will be taking place between the hours of 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. So again, for early childhood, both Rice and Hillside, and then our 3 elementary schools, Mississippi Heights, Pleasant View, and Rice, all of those schools will be having open houses from 3 until 7. At the middle school and at the high school, we'll be having open house as well, but that will run from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. So it's going to be a 4-hour slot of time for families to come in and have a chance to come and see where things are at for open house. And please refer to your electronic back to school packet for details specific to your family and what that's going to look like. So again, at the end of the day, the week of August 28th, specifically August 30th, we're going to have open house at all of our buildings. Early childhood at both Rice and Hillside, 3 to 7. Mississippi Heights, Pleasant View, and Rice, 3 to 7. The middle school and the high school are from 4 until 8. And again, please refer to that electronic back to school packet for details specific to your family. The next item that I want to talk about is the first day of school, and what we have done as a district for a number of years is we run what's called a staggered start. So the first day of school for some of our students is going to be the Tuesday after Labor Day, which is Tuesday, September 5th. And we will have school for a specific group of students. And those specific groups of students include all kindergarten students. And so we give our kindergartners a chance to understand how the school works. For many of them, it's the first time they've been in a school, and we get all hands on deck to help out with that. And it's a great day to be going around the elementary buildings and seeing all the smiling faces of our new kindergarten students. But at the end of the day, September 5th is going to be for our kindergarten students. In addition to them, at the middle school level, it'll be new for our 6th graders, as well as new to the district 7th and 8th grade students. So again, as students transition from that elementary school to the middle school, we're going to take an opportunity for all of our 6th graders, and then any new to district student in grades 7 and 8, and they can come in and they'll be available they'll have school on that first day, and really it's an opportunity for students to learn a little bit more about how the day works, what it looks like, without it having to be all the students in the building. And then at the high school level, it will be for 9th grade only, and we do some welcome events with them, and it's really it's an orientation day. It's a chance for kids to really learn how their building is going to work, see their schedule without everybody being there. And again, for our early childhood students, please check your schedules to see what the schedule is going to look like. Then on Wednesday, September 6th, we'll have school all day for everybody. So staggered start September 5th, kindergarten, 6th grade, new to district 7th and 8th graders, and 9th grade. Everybody else gets one more sleep before they have to come to school. And then on Wednesday, September 6th, we'll be welcoming all students back in pre-K through 12, and we're looking forward to having them come back. Looks like I have a question here. So one of the questions that we have here is, what's the option for open house if times don't work? Great question. Please reach out to your child's building and let them know that this time might not work for you, and we'll see if we can't find an additional time for you to be able to come in and meet with your child's teacher. I will share with you that we have a lot of professional development that is going on during that week for our staff, and so time is a little bit limited with that, but if we can find a different time to make that work, I'm sure they will do their very best to be able to do so. I had two notes and they were both the same question, so I'm going to continue to move along here. Some events that are going to be coming up here as we get started, as the calendar turns to September. It's homecoming week, the week of September 11th. And that's always an exciting time, especially at the high school, but it's around the whole district. So a couple of the things that I want to make you be aware of is, number one is that we'll have the coronation at the high school PAC, and that will be happening on Monday, September 11th, and that will be at 7:30. And then we have the homecoming football game on Friday, September 15th, and that will be the varsity football field at the middle school. I can't remember who we are competing against. I think it's Cambridge, Isanti, but I'll do a little checking with that to see where that's at. The other thing that is going on during this week that I want to make sure that I call out is the Hall of Fame class of 2023. And I will try to make sure that I get these names right. I will look at Nicole in case I get them wrong. So congratulations to Kayla Dieters, to Craig Muir, to Bob Niels, and the 1997 Storm Gymnastics team for being recognized for the 2023 Hall of Fame. That again, congratulations to all of them. And that is that usually takes place on Saturday, on the Saturday after the homecoming football game. So we'll have the Hall of Fame social after the football game on the 15th, and then on Saturday the 16th, we'll have the Hall of Fame induction brunch, which is at 10 o'clock at Sauk Rapids Rice High School. It is against Monticello. I have been corrected. It is against Monticello. I'll have to make sure I reach out to Superintendent Eric Olson, who is a former Sauk Rapids Rice employee here, and I might have to needle him a little bit about who's going to win that football game. So again, congratulations to Kayla Dieters, Craig Muir, Bob Niels, and the 1997 Storm Gymnastics team on the newest members of the Hall of Fame for the class of 2023. We've got high school coronation, 7:30, Monday, September 11th at the high school PAC. The football game is going to be against Monticello at the varsity football field at the middle school at 7 o'clock. There will be the Hall of Fame social after the football game on Friday, and then on Saturday is the Hall of Fame induction brunch, which is at 10 o'clock. No additional new questions at this time. I'm just checking my timeline here. So I've got a couple more items that I want to make sure that I talk with you about. And usually, for those of you that have been regular visitors to the storm forecast meetings that we have here. We are in need and continue to be in need of substitutes. We need teachers, paraprofessionals, custodial, administrative assistants, health assistants, food service. If you are interested in being a sub, please reach out to our Human Resources office and we will work with you to get that done. With the exception of being a teacher, there's no special degree that you have to have. It is really just a strong desire to join the Storm family and a willingness to come and help us out when we have people who are gone. If you are interested in being a substitute teacher, you will either need a teaching license or we can get you what's called a short call sub license, but you have to have a 4-year degree to be able to do that. The process is not simple, unfortunately. I wish it was a little bit simpler. So we will help you through that. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention as well, we also need transportation support as well, or substitutes as well. We've got amazing people who work very hard to do the very best to meet the needs of our kids. And whether it's keeping our buildings clean, and whether it is the instruction piece that's happening in our buildings, to the folks that are bringing our kids to and from school each day, to our food service staff, to our administrative assistants and our health assistants. They do an incredible job, but people do get sick. Some people do have things that come up that they need to be gone, and we would love to have you come join the Storm family. And again, if you have an interest or you just want to learn more about it, please reach out to our Human Resources Department, and we will gladly steer you in the right direction, help support you in your desire to come and help work with us. All right, with that, I've talked a little bit about the educational benefits form already, and one of the things that I want to add in with that is the form can be completed online or by paper, but must be done no later than December 15th of each year. So please, we will ask that you not wait until then. Let's do it sooner rather than later. And again, if you have any questions with the Ed Benefits form, please reach out to your child's building and we will gladly work you through that and help you get that form filled out. It's not complicated, but you certainly may have some questions and we're here to help with that. I'm not seeing any more questions. I have gotten through all of the information that I need to have. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and end the first session of Storm Forecast for this year. Again, thank you for joining tonight, and thank you to the person that asked the question. Our next Facebook Live session is going to be on Wednesday, September 13th, and that will be at 7 o'clock. And then moving forward into October, November, it will be the first Wednesday, and December will be the first Wednesday for those 3 months. And then in January, we're going to go to January 10th because of the organizational meeting. And then we'll go back to the first Wednesday of each month for February, March, April, and May. I think that's it for tonight. Thanks again for joining me. Have a great evening. Take care and go Storm.